about getting us. And I think the board and when we're out there having conversations with investors, that is front and foremost in everything we're doing, is, kind of our values, us, kind of who we are, who Wimbledon is. We're all really conscious that when we sit on this board and we go out there and represent the Dons Trust and AFC Wimbledon, we are standing on the shoulders of thousands of people who've made this happen. Kind of from very small levels of volunteering to massive levels of volunteering. And the investors that are talking to us, kind of for the most part, the ones that don't understand that have fallen away in conversations very, very quickly. Because what you're investing in is all of us, kind of, and everything we've achieved and everything we can achieve together in the future as well. My hope is, and I'll work as hard as I possibly can to make sure what happens, and I know that everyone on this table will, and everyone members of the board is that when we bring that if this vote passes and the next one passes, when we bring that investor conversation to the members, it's really, really clear. It lays out answers to all the questions you've just raised there about how capital's injected, phasing of that is, all that kind of stuff, because that's the opportunity we can really, kind of, you guys, one part of the process. So, kind of a lot of the stuff we can't answer today, but I hope you're assured, and please be assured that we are out there having those conversations and asking those tough questions and making sure that all those things you've outlined will come to the membership. Will, on a stage like this one, probably this one, will be, those people will come and present their plan to you, and it'll be a shared plan on behalf of all of us.
Thanks.
Can I just add that I'd hope that people would appreciate, from me personally, will be asking those tough questions, because we had this vote 18 months ago and I didn't vote in favour. Tonight I am voting in favour. The wider football context has changed. It's a much more difficult environment. I have full confidence that the whole board, the club board, have done everything they can to explore the options, and that this isn't about, it's kind of with a heavy heart, because I feel like, I haven't come to this decision easily, but I think this is now the option that safeguards our future, actually. It provides us with more options and for a long-term sustainable future for the club. And that if we don't pass this vote, I kind of do worry that we lose more control. So I just wanted to make that point.
Just one final point as well to pick up, David. As part of we've been in the background, we've been building an assessment set of guidelines, and there's a big tranche of that is around do they get us, and philosophical alignment. So yes, there's a lot of focus on that.
So there is a final point. I haven't been involved in any discussions with any potential investors, so I don't know the details. And therefore, what I'm going to say is very generic. But what I do know is that people are coming and talking about different styles of investment. So what one potential investor might offer is different from what another potential investor might offer. And we, as a club board, as a Dons Trust board, will obviously be looking for the very best investor we can get. But I have to say it's unlikely we will get everything that we want, because that's the nature of football. And so we will potentially have to make a choice between an investor who will offer X or an investor who will offer Y. And we will do our best to get everything, but what's non-negotiable is that they get what we are. We're a fan-owned club. We're a club that intends to remain fan-owned. We're a club that wants a partner who gets us, and a partner who's going to work with us in the long term, who realises that they're not going to be able to cash out in a year or two and make millions and millions, because that's A, not us, and B, not football. So it will be a tough ask. It will be a tough decision. And if this vote passes, when we come back to you, it won't be perfect, I warn you of that. But we will always seek to get the best to maintain our wonderful club and grow and hopefully be in a position, if we aren't this year, to be challenging for championship football, and then who knows after that.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everybody. We're going to have to take a little 10-minute break at this point, so
get yourselves another drink if you would like. We are having an issue with the stream. We need to bring it back. we're going to get started again. We'll continue everyone with questions on resolution 1. Martin.
Good evening. My name is Matteo Finocchio. My question here, I think it's more connected to all of the discussion that we are having, which is, I think, before even the investor come, and if an investor come, right? But we are allowing, as members, to go down to 50+1. And by doing this, and very connected to the question of my friend here, that was thinking about protections and get the board to be involved in protecting. But this is also part of a risk decision that we are taking here today. So there's risk and rewards. We are looking a lot about rewards here, but also we're looking about the risks and how to protect. The question that I have is the exam question for me is, what exactly is our insurance plan? Or what we're gonna do, what the board thinks that we'll be able to do if and when we got to a situation that we are 50+1 and we run out of cash. Or we're in a situation as the football environment, football world evolve, that will be, well, tied to a very tight budget again, or with difficulties to invest and grow. What would be the insurance policy in that circumstance?
I can take that for a first go, which is the first thing is the reason why we're bringing this back to members is so that we can go and get a minority investor so that we won't run out of cash. So that's the very first reason why we're doing this in the first place. And in terms of, anyone else want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's really, really hard to predict the future. And it's really, really hard to predict the future in a world where we don't know who's on the other side of a table from us in terms of that investor conversation, as Alex said, and as Graham and others have said as well. So we don't know what that deal looks like yet. So the protections that we have at 50.01 are really strong protections. And they could be, we could look to introduce some other stuff around the ground that we've talked about, which would be great as well. There is no, there's no insurance policy for running out of money, right? Like that is the biggest risk, and the biggest risk to us always has been running out of money. So when the investors come in, we have to continue doing what we're really, really good at now, which is being a well-run football club. We are a really well-run football club. And I know that, when I was off the board and before I joined, it's really easy to we love criticising. We're football fans. That's what we do on a Saturday. That's what we do when we're not at the ground. But we are, and the investors that we've spoken to so far have been, impressed about how well run a football club we are. We've got a brilliant professional staff here running the club. James and all his team are absolutely superb. We just have to keep on doing that. So when the windfall comes in, as David said earlier, or if we get some investment in, we have to keep our discipline. We have to keep trying to push towards sustainability. There's some really I'm optimistic about the future and about, people can be pessimistic about it, but I'm optimistic about what might happen with the independent football regulator as well. So that, talk about football's bent away from us at the moment in terms of spending. My hope is with the regulator, football bends back towards us, that spending lowers, and I appreciate hoping that football controls spending is what we've sat in rooms saying for, not just us, but lots and lots of people for lots of years. But my hope is that football controls spending. League One looks like it's going to introduce new rules in the next couple of years that will reduce the amount of money that owners can put in as well. So hopefully football bends back towards us, and I'm confident there's some regulatory pressure that's going to happen on that. And then we just continue being a well-run football club that has the community impact that we want, and puts a great team out there, that we invest in the right way in our infrastructure. That's the best insurance policy we can possibly have.
I think as well, it's, just to add to that, it's recognising what we have. Me and my partner are a classic example of what Wimbledon has and can offer and should continue to offer and capitalise on. We came to one game and we were sold. I've been very clear, I didn't grow up in the area. I was not a Wimbledon fan. I was not in 2002. I am now a diehard Wimbledon fan, and I can guarantee you that, and I will swear by it. we just have something that sells to people. We've brought family who support other League One teams, and they go, how on earth is this a League One ground? They are shocked when they come here at how brilliant it is. So it's not just, it ties in with the being a really well-run club, but it's actually capitalising on being an absolutely insanely brilliant football club. And that is something that other clubs don't have, and we should continue to capitalise on, regardless of any investment.
Final point on this. No investor is going to want to invest millions of pounds for a short-term deal, for 2 or 3 years of being a minority owner of a football club. If we were to take any investment and throw it all at the playing budget and not achieve championship football, or even make championship football and then struggle in the championship, we would be back in the same position straight away. Any investor is going to be looking at us because we are a well-run football club, because we are efficient, and look for the long term. That's what we're after, and that's what I'm sure what they are after as well. So they're going to come along and they're going to say, how can we make sure that this club exists into the future, doing good things in League One, in the Championship, or wherever the football fortunes take us? Because we are subject to the football fortunes, and you know, I don't want to go down to League Two, of course I don't. But if relegation happens because we're not good enough on the pitch, that I can accept just as any football fan can. But those investors are going to want to come in and want to help us build something for the future. They aren't in it for the short term, and neither are we.
Thanks, Alex. And it leads back to what was being said earlier. Any investor that is likely to want to come on this journey is going to want to come on it with us, not behind us or out of the way of us, but with us as part of our team to help us move forward and be part of the decision making for the long term. We would get to know them over a period of time. We would get to know them, and you would, before we took any investment from them. And you know, we would undertake rigorous vetting of that investor before we brought them to members for you to consider accepting them into our club. It's something we all feel pretty close to our hearts, that this is one of the biggest decisions that we're going to ever undertake as a club, and we must get the right value, and we also must get the right people.
Okay, good evening everyone. Roger Hopkinson, Alex Angus, you've just opened the door for what I was going to say. We need to tell a stronger investor story, investment story. You've got the investor audience, and you've got the supporter audience, and you've got our local community audience. You've got lots of good words coming out. There was an interesting piece last week people commented on, why was that not produced sooner? It was talking about where David's question about where might the money be invested into, infrastructure, community, women's, etc., etc. Please start to tell a stronger investor story. I don't know if the PLC group or yourselves have that skill set, but I think we need some wordsmiths, some storytellers to tell a much stronger narrative than is being projected at the moment. We've gone through our homecoming years. Like any startup, we've grown on. We need to bite this bullet and move on, but please start telling a stronger story.
Thanks, Roger. That's a good question, and it's something that colleagues on the board, Graham particularly, call sequencing periodically. We have to do this piece first. What we're doing tonight is talking about giving us the opportunity to go to 50.01% of the voting rights. I get that, and we started to do that, and we will do that. And when we come back with a more detailed investor proposal, you'll see all of that. But it's quite difficult to do that without the permission to do that in the first place, to the ability to sell these shares the way that we want to. So we're doing...
I think to answer Roger's question directly, you are right. We need to tell a really strong investor story. We've got some fantastic storytellers in the club and on both our boards, and we've put together some really good materials that have gone out to the investors we're having conversations with. We'll keep doing that. We'll keep bringing them to games, because actually bringing them to games, going down to see DLAG, seeing what Wish do, seeing what the foundation do, that's the best story we can tell. So we will keep doing that. We've done it. Your question's really well heard.
Terry Langford. 18 months ago, when Hannah voted against the vote, you were saying you were in the middle of writing a strategy of where the funds would be spent. I haven't seen that strategy. I think it needs to be very clear about what money is going to be invested in the ground, in the other stands, the third floor, with figures for us, to be able to know where this money is going to be spent. And really, we should have had that strategy. You're asking us to vote on something and not telling us where the funds, just, oh, it's going to help the playing budget, or we're going to do a bit with the academy, we're going to do a bit with the training ground. But really, we really need to know where is the money, because those things are not going to improve the income. Where are you going to invest it where the income is going to be improved? So we won't get to a point where we've got more costs than income.
I'll take that point, Terry. Some of that, of course, depends on the investor and how the deal is constructed, because, of course, some people are going to pay over a period of time, in tranches, which impacts upon prioritisation. There's a piece of work trundling along in the background as well at the moment around capital expenditure and prioritisation, which feeds into that 5-year plan. So although we've got an idea of how we'd like to spend money, we'd like to be able to come back and be more concrete about the order in which we can do things. And some of that is, as you say, where we can get a return. So a return on our investment. So there are simple things that can be done which will produce a return. There are other things which are harder to measure. But
with all due respect, you said that 18 months ago,
but
and we still haven't seen anything.
But the answer's the same, because if somebody came in and said, right, we're paying all the money up front, the answer for them would be different to somebody who's paying over time. In fact, we wouldn't want somebody to come in and pay all the money up front, because the way SCMP works, that wouldn't be to our maximum advantage. You'd actually want them to pay in more than one tranche. I do take the point, but it would be better for us to come back with something concrete and something that people can get their teeth into, rather than saying, well, these are a load of things we'd like to do, but we don't know because we're waiting to see what the shape of any deal is.
So are you going to bring that to us when we're looking at which investor it is?
Yeah,
because
so
I think it's very important that, that you do give that to us when you ask us to look at which investor it is.
So we would obviously propose an investor. So having worked our way through, and along with Michelle, probably spent more time on this than anybody else. Once we work that through, we have a recommendation which would go to both boards, and of course the DT would make a final decision and make a recommendation to you as the members. Part of that allows for a degree of interrogation, philosophical alignment, as I called it earlier on. But at that point, because at the point we make a recommendation, we would know pretty much how they're going to look to pay and how they want to allocate money, because they have a say as well. It's not just us saying, oh yeah, we're going to spend it all on players and go for promotion, which we wouldn't do. We may spend some on that, of course. So at that point, when there's a recommendation being made, we will be able to say, yes, we're going to improve the following things, and there's going to be money spent in these areas, because we know it will increase our revenue and increase our chances of being sustainable on a reliable basis.
Okay, lovely, thank you.
Thanks, Graham.
I'm probably just going to echo what Graham said, but I haven't been involved, like Alex said, in any investor conversations, and many have happened. Some have fallen away because they haven't aligned with what, they haven't got basically past the first hurdle of what we would expect from a partner. And that's what we're looking for, essentially, is a partner to help build us onto the next level. And just to, again, reassure you that this is a vote to enable those conversations to happen, and that they will go through processes internally through the boards to say, do you meet the fundamentals of who we are, before coming to members to really kind of present their, whoever it may be, the vision of like, oh, we want to build up the furthest floor or invest in the academy. And that's why it's really hard to set the strategy before having the like kind of investor on the table. And then, members, it will come to members to say, okay, kick it back and forth and say that this is, and really interrogate that proposition, but knowing that it's gone through some sense checks from the boards in the first place as well before it comes to members.
Give us your name first, yeah.
Will Ricketts. Like Terry, I'm going to take us back 18 months. 18 months ago, more than 10% of the membership called for a members' SGM with concerns about the Constitution. It's taken 18 months to write that Constitution. We have a high voting threshold tonight and in a month's time to get 50+1 through. Yet we've risked having some of those people vote in favour, probably, by appearing to not listen to their concerns, by taking as long to get the new Constitution through as we've taken to bring 50+1 back to them. Both in the sort of months-wise timeline, as in why could we not have voted on the new Constitution a month ago or vote on 50+1 in a month's time after the new Constitution, but also even tonight in the order of resolutions, if people wanted to take a steer from live voting, why are we being asked to vote on 50+1 before we have any idea whether the new Constitution is going to go through?